Hello and welcome to another episode of For the Painter's Good. My name's Sean and today we have something very exciting. The brand new Raveners from Kill Team Typhon. Managed to get my hands on one of these on pre-order and it was really good to build the Raveners. I decided to build this guy as the Ravener Prime. Look at him. I mean, I really like the fin on the head. I'm not normally a fan of them on the Tyranids, but I really like the fin on this guy's head. The new sculpts are brilliant. It's a really nice kind of HD update nearly to these Raveners and that kind of stuff. I always liked the originals, but I knew a new sculpt was coming. So we're just going to dive straight in here. First thing we're going to do is we're actually going to paint the fin, and we're going to paint it with Guilliman Flesh. We're just going to throw the first contrast on there basically. We're just going to do this to get that kind of fleshy looking texture on it. Now I've done this exactly the same on things like the wings of Hive Tyrants, the wings of my Tyranid Prime, so it blends in with the rest of my army and that kind of thing as well. So that's really cool. I like to think the fin is for synaptic purposes as well, so that's really cool. It's a nice take on the Raveners, and anyone that's played Space Marine 2, particularly in siege mode at the moment, knows how painful a few of these guys can be to try and fight basically. So this is us just applying this layer of the contrast paint on there. I haven't seen too many people actually do the Hive Fleet Leviathan actually for this. A lot of people have done obviously Hive Fleet Typhon, a lot of people have done a few other Hive Fleets. I haven't seen too many Leviathans around, so I thought I'd give this a go myself here trying to do this. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to apply Carapace Crimson. Now we're going to put this into all the vents and the kind of fleshy gaps in the arms and that kind of thing, nearly like where you'd see like the ribbing on a Space Marine basically and that kind of stuff. So keep your eye out for these. Some of them are a little bit hard to reach, so just take your time. Don't overload your brush too much because it is a shade we're dealing with for the Carapace Crimson. So just make sure you're just being patient and that kind of stuff. This can be a little bit finicky, but don't worry about it. We can tidy anything up with White Scar because I've primed this model in White Scar, so we can just get a pot of White Scar and tidy it up if we need to basically. Here we are just going in with that Carapace Crimson. You can see on one side there, I've done the Carapace Crimson, just makes a few of the little details pop for this guy as well, which is really good. Now I've done the other side, and we're also going to throw this on the tongue and on the inside of the mouth as well here. Again, it'll just add a little bit more points of interest on the model, as well as, again, I'm making it blend with my Hive Fleet Leviathan here, which I've done all their tongues in that Carapace Crimson color as well. So that's really good. So next up we're going to go to the red then, and I've sped this footage up a little bit because this is one of what I think is the longest parts of the process, particularly with this model. These Raveners actually have much more red than you would think if you're doing the traditional Hive Fleet Leviathan. So when I'm saying that, I'm applying the Flesh Terrors red all over any claws, all over the spikes on the tail. You can see all the little nubby kind of spikes that they would use presumably to grip in the dirt and that kind of thing. I'm doing it in there as well, and across those scything talons and the rending claws as well actually. So there's a lot of red all over this model here, so that's why I've kind of sped this footage up a little bit. As I said, I've not seen too many people do Hive Fleet Leviathan for this box set release, I guess, and that kind of thing. Some people do their own Hive Fleets, which is awesome. It's great to see all the diversity out there. And then a lot of people have obviously tried to do Hive Fleet Typhon, which is a new exciting take for a lot of people and that kind of stuff on Tyranids and that kind of stuff. And it's great to see them get some love as well, to be honest with you. I've been waiting for this Kill Team ever since they teased it in one of the reveal shows, so it's really exciting to see that come to fruition basically and that kind of thing. So it's very exciting. Really been looking forward to painting these guys, and so far he's been a real joy to paint as well. But back to the Hive Fleet Leviathan take on it is, I'm not a huge fan of the way Games Workshop paints Hive Fleet Leviathan, in the sense that I don't like that thing that they do where they shade the skin with either Magos Purple, some people do Carapace Crimson. Not a huge fan of that. When I look at like the Codex cover, the skin is this pure white color almost. Do you know that way? It's not like it's not that kind of fleshy tint. Now it might just be that I'm not by any means a professional painter. I wouldn't even class myself as a particularly good painter either. But what I do like is I like a scheme that I can get done in a good amount of time so I can put models on the table. After all, this is for the painter's good, so we want to make sure that we're getting easy schemes that you can get models on the table. So here you go, this is that Flesh Terror red done. This is the point in time when I chose to do the base in particular. So this is that lovely rocky kind of base that's built into it and that kind of thing. So we're going to apply Basilicanum Grey all over this then. Just be careful, try not to nick the tail if you can, or the scaly bits that are actually on the tail as well. It'll just mean you have to go and retidy it back up and that kind of stuff, but it's just to try and spend a little bit of time being a little bit careful with it. It will pay off in the long run if you are. So again, we're just being careful with this Basilicanum Grey here. We're just taking our time going through the model. It is a lovely model to paint, I must say. The red took a little bit of time. Those eagle-eyed viewers of you will see I've left a spot out on the Scything Talons actually and that kind of stuff. Don't worry, I do go back and finish this up by the end. But give yourselves a laugh and watch the video and see how long it takes me to realise that I've left that spot unpainted effectively for a little while. It goes on longer than I was happy to show, but I think it's a good mini game to try and see if you can find it. This is the exciting bit that I always love now, which is the painting of the carapace on Tyranids. This always gives me a little bit of anxiety as well, if I'm going to be honest with you, particularly when we're trying to keep that skin really good and white as well. And this is quite a pigmented purple actually. It's beautiful, to be honest with you. I have a soft spot for good purples, to be honest with you. My Eldar are purple as well. So I really like a good purple, and this was actually my first effort with Leviathan purple. Normally I do like a Nagaroth Knight, a Shyish purple, and then a Nagaroth Knight, and then a little bit of an edge highlight. So I really like the result. Look at that carapace pop against the white and the red. Just absolutely class. Love it. Looks really good. So take your time. Again, this is a contrast paint, so just make sure there's no pooling on the surfaces or anything like that. Make sure you get it in those recesses that are on the carapace, because there is quite a few of them. Try not to nick any spots with the red if you can as well, because that'll obviously, we're hopefully for the most part finished with the red now anyway. So this is where we just have to be a little bit careful with how we're applying the Leviathan purple all over it. I'm just watching this now, and the Ravener is just awesome. This is such a good like resculpt or revisit or whatever you want to do. I'm gonna call it a HDing of this model. Like, it just looks so good. The rending claws, the scything talons, the base molded into it with a tail that wraps all the way around, just absolutely fantastic. Really good. They totally did these Tyranids justice, to be honest with you. I can't wait to build the other 4 in the box, to be honest with you. This has been really good. It's been a really good model to paint as well, and that kind of thing. So just mind as well when we're doing the head, obviously, just make sure you're getting those scaly bits. I had to pay closer attention than I would have liked to the parts that are scaly in particular. Make sure you nab those bits on the tail as well. There's a few kind of hard scaly bits on the tail as well. Down the center of the chest as well. I tried to follow the box art for the Hive Fleet Typhon scheme and apply where they did the black scheme. I applied the purple for Leviathan purple, and there we go. There's all the purple applied now. That looks absolutely fantastic. It just looks really, really good. This is us actually going back in with the Carapace Crimson now for a brief minute, because what I'm going to do is I'm just filling in some of the space. I must confess, I didn't know all the tactics for how to paint this model, so I kind of just felt it out a little bit, and you'll do the same and that kind of thing. So that is the Carapace Crimson applied. Next up, we're going to switch to Iyanden Yellow. Just a drop of this in the eyes. A lot of people like Ironjaw's Yellow, Imperial Fist. Whatever floats your boat is totally fine. The reason I like this is because it gives a little bit of an orange glow if you go a little bit heavier in it as well. So it looks really good, I think. When the skin is that pale white, it stands out really well against that. You can see there I've left a little bit around the actual eye as well, and you can see how it just stands out against that dark purple Leviathan purple. So that's really good. Again, this is actually a bit I did earlier. This is the Carapace Crimson. I'm just putting it onto the fin to blend it in with the section that's just down lower on his head. But what I'm going to do is I put the Carapace Crimson on in a pool in the corner, and then we put some water on our paintbrush, do a little bit of the excess of the water off, and then drag the cardboard crimson up into the fin. And what it'll do is it will just blend the two together then, so they won't look so stark against each other. And this was actually something I've seen Warhipster do a couple of times as well, which I've kind of adopted on a few different ones. I do it with the tentacles as well on the I can't remember what the little brains that go with the Neuro Tyrant is what it is. Sorry, that's what I was thinking. So this next step actually is another step that I took from another really good Warhammer YouTuber. Go and check him out. It's Mediocre Hobbies. Basically, with his Tyranids, what he does is he takes a small amount of a paint and puts it in the recesses between the armored plates on the Carapace. So I'm doing this with Abaddon Black. Now he has a blue Carapace, so he does a brown in here, but the Abaddon Black just works really well here. Basically, it'll deepen that recess a little bit more. We are going to put a shade on it as well to deepen that recess again, basically, but it will just heighten that kind of perception of your vision a little bit, that there are actually plates and there's separation between those plates as well. So you can see me applying it to all of the plates all along the tail. There's a little glimpse of what some of it looks like there. It's not all dry at that point, but this is it now with it dry, and it looks fantastic. I've also applied a Null and Oil coat here because actually my camera died halfway through it, so that was a rookie mistake on my part basically. But once that Abaddon Black dried, I threw an all over coat of Null and Oil on the miniature basically. We're coming to the closing stages of the miniature now, so we're going to jump up to Genestealer Purple, and we're going to apply this kind of scratchy chunky highlight onto the Carapace, this kind of feathering technique nearly, and that kind of stuff. Again, sound like a broken record. Go check out Mediocre Hobbies. He does this much better than I do. But what we're doing here is we're just applying it all over the Carapace, just this gentle feathering motion basically. And what we're looking to do is almost create this jagged perception of a highlight. The rougher you can be with this, the better. Try and keep it small if you can. Try and avoid the recesses. There's lots of scratches and dents in the Carapace and that kind of thing, so just make sure you're avoiding going into those recesses, but try and just make it quite rough looking. We don't want this to be a clean edge highlight because this is a natural texture. This is a Carapace. This scratches off of walls, off of things that it charges, off of power armor. This is a significant portion of this model that takes some punishment, so we want the edges of it to look a little bit sharp, but we want them rough looking, as if they catch on things as well a little bit. So that's why we're doing this kind of chunky edge highlight, they call it, I think, or the feathering technique, as opposed to doing a really clean just edge highlight across it. So this is really good. I find this process a little bit therapeutic, if I'm going to be honest. It does take a little bit of time, but it is worth it in the end. I normally think there's about 3, maybe 4 stages of this scheme that take a bit of time. I think it's the red, the Leviathan purple, the Genestealer Cult purple is the other one, and then the Abaddon Black can sometimes take a while depending on how many carapaces you do on it. This is our last one of all the paints that we're doing here, and this is just going to be a quick hit of Corax White. We're going to hit the teeth with it basically. This is just to separate them out, so you didn't have to worry about being too careful with that cardboard crimson on the mouth, but it just means that we can separate them out from the rest of the mouth. They'll also look a little bit brighter than the rest of the skin as well, because we hit the whole model with that Null and Oil as well. And there is our finished model ready to be based. He looks so good. I'm so pleased with that. So my basing scheme for my Tyranids, I'm going to hit the rough texture from AK Dioramas. Just give it a quick hit all over the base. You'll see mine was grey on the inside. I threw some black paint in there. That was literally it basically. And now we're going to hit it with my little tub of rocks. I'm so excited. I shook the camera there. Apologies for that. We're going to dunk them in there while the basing paste hasn't dried yet, by the way. Make sure you do it while the basing paste is wet. You see it all adheres onto the basing texture paste then, which is excellent. It just holds there really nice. There's big chunky rocks in there, little thin ones as well. It looks really good. And here's some still images. What do you think? Do you like it? Do you not? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.